Here we are going live. Dzień dobry wszystkim na kolejnej OptoGadce. Dzisiejszym gościem jest Ania Tichenor, która jest ze Stanów Zjednoczonych. Hello everybody. Today we talk in English mostly because this is the conversation between Ania and our special guest also Kasia, who invited Ania to OptoGadka. We would like to ask Ania about the life, about the optometry in the USA, and I hope that she will answer all our questions and make some introduction about this discipline, because she's doing many things in optometry, and I think one meeting is not enough. After this short introduction, I will ask first question to Ania. Ania, how is your day? The most simple question I could ever ask.
No, dobry wieczór i dziękuję za zaproszenie na OptoGadkę. Bardzo się cieszę, że możemy dzisiaj i w nocy porozmawiać o optometrii. My day today is still the middle of the day. Very cold here, snowy. Just catching up on some work, but I'm doing well so far. I have a puppy at home now, so we're taking care of the puppy, which is interesting, but a good day so far.
Thank you. Anna, how many hours difference is between you and us? Did you calculate it?
I think it's 6 hours. So you guys are 6 hours ahead. So I'm still in the afternoon.
Okay, we have light in the late afternoon. It's 8 o'clock. For me, it's time close to go to sleep, but for you, I am here. So could you tell me something about you? What do you like to do except optometry?
Sure. So my husband and I, we recently moved to Indiana. So we've spent a lot of time kind of before the pandemic exploring the state, because it's a new state to us. We've never been here really before. It's very close to Chicago. So we had plans to kind of travel and things like that, but we have focused in on Indiana and visiting lots of the parks that are around here. We went on a really cool kayaking trip a couple weekends ago. It's an underground river that runs in a cave, and you actually go kayaking. So we did that. So it's pretty fun. So we like to spend time outside and go hiking and just
I really love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. Kasia, the question's for you. How did you know Anya?
So I got opportunity to go to America, to Memphis, to visit Dr. Maples and work with him at the clinic. And Dr. Maples wrote email to the students of College of Optometry. If somebody will took to his house a new student from Poland, and Anna answered him, and we didn't know each other. So at the airport, she didn't know me, what I was looking and everything. The first night was, for me, was scary. I think for Anna too, because she didn't know me. But after, I think, 2 days, 3 days, we became a really good friend. I was cooking for Anna. That's right.
It's true.
All the good stuff. And I think that was, for me, that was the best trip in my life, really. And everything, like the optometry, Anna helped me with everything. She learned me a lot. She showed me, she showed me retinoscopy. Of course, I love vision therapy. Anna didn't like it, so I was going on every courses of that. But I met a lot of students in there, and it was great. And the best thing was that Anna took me to the trip. Do you remember the trip, Anna? That we were taking care of people. Oh yeah, that was really, really hard. We were taking people that don't have insurance in health. That's right. How we called it in English, Anna?
Yeah, they have no health insurance and are financially not stable to afford healthcare.
It was really hard for me because they were asking me from what kind of country I was. Somebody didn't read a lot of, they couldn't read. So it was really, really hard. I was so exhausted because from 6 in the morning we had to take care of a lot of patients, and it was really hard work, but it was a very good trip.
That was great history. Drodzy Państwo, jak widzicie, większość rozmowy będzie w języku angielskim, ale jeżeli pojawiają Wam się jakieś pytania, które chcielibyście zadać w języku polskim, bądź jakaś część jest niezrozumiała, piszcie do nas na czacie. Postaramy się albo na bieżąco wyjaśnić cały kontekst, albo później po nagraniu jeszcze dopiszemy wyjaśnienia, tak żeby było to dla wszystkich przejrzyste i zrozumiałe. Jak usłyszeliście na początku, Ania zna język polski. Troszeczkę tutaj mówi, że woli komunikować się w języku angielskim, dlatego ten język wybraliśmy, ale no widzicie, nie możemy jej tak po prostu bezkarnie obgadywać. Także ta rozmowa będzie w języku angielskim z małymi wstawkami języka polskiego, ale jeżeli są jakieś pytania, można je zadawać zarówno w języku polskim, jak i angielskim. Aniu, next question is for you. I would like to know when and how you get your interest in the optometry. How old are the people, on average, choosing your profession in the United States?
Sure. So I started university when I was 18, so right after high school, and we call it undergraduate work, right? Bachelor of Science. So I started studying mathematics and computer science. I thought that I wanted to be a math teacher because I understood math, and I just thought that that's what I wanted to do. But it was somewhere when I was around 20, so about 2 years into my studies, that I felt like I wasn't on the right path. I felt like I wanted to do something different, something that would help people in a different way. So I started thinking about healthcare fields, so different types of doctors and things like that. And one of my really strongest memories of my grandparents is when I went to Poland when I guess I was maybe like 8 years old. And all I can remember is my grandmother, she was an ophthalmologist in Poland. And I remember visiting them and she took us to her office or her clinic. And I remember her putting on these, like, the crazy travel frame glasses that they had back then. It was just so uncomfortable, but I can still remember thinking, wow, she can help me see clearly just with these different combinations of lenses, because I'm wearing contacts, but I do wear glasses. I'm very nearsighted. So I remember that. And it kind of, I guess, draw me to think about, maybe something with optometry. I've been wearing glasses since I was in second grade. So since I was 7 years old, I'm going to eye doctor every year. So anyway, so I thought about optometry, and then I went and shadowed some of the local optometrists to kind of see what their daily life was like. And soon after that, I decided to pursue optometry because I thought that it would make me happy, and I feel like it would be a good career for me. So some people decide to do optometry, I'm assuming right out of high school, maybe, but I feel like the majority of people probably decide after a year or two of their undergraduate studies. So most of them will start optometry school when they're about 22 to 23 years old.
Okay.
Well, maybe 24, kind of depending on when they decide in their undergraduate.
Okay, I see. At last, OptoGadka, we answered questions to each other. When did we know about the optometry? Because it's quite new area in Poland, and all of us were decided to go on optometry at the last moment they could. I just knew what is optometry very close to my Matura exam. It was just few days before. And I was thinking of my physics labs, I like working with people. I like physics. Maybe something can be connected. And I found optometry and go there. But sometimes we decide about our future very early, like we want to be a doctor or the lawyer or someone else. Optometry is something what we have just idea, and it works. Also in your country. I'm very happy that Poland has some influence in your career. I'm surprised with this. Could you tell me how many years does it take to become an optometrist in the USA?
So most optometry schools in the United States, and there's 23, including Puerto Rico. Most of them require a Bachelor of Science, so an undergraduate. So they require you to have a 4-year university degree. Not all of them, but most of them do. So 4 years of undergraduate, right? Where you take a lot of chemistry and biology classes and things like that. And then optometry school itself is 4 years. There is then an optional 5th year residency program, but that's not required at this time. So I'd say 8 years total of schooling, 4 years dedicated to optometry.
Okay.
And you can say that you have only a week break. It was a week or 2 weeks break before a next semester of.
Yeah, you go through the summer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's much different than here in Poland because we have optometry usually 2 years at master degree and 3 years of the bachelor degree, so 5 in total. And the break is 3 months, Kasia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have 3 months break. Yes, but we have to learn a lot of but ourselves after universities. Okay. Is it in every state the same? The 8 years is the same in every state, or in the Florida or Arizona it looks different?
Most of them are like I said, most of them require that bachelor. All of the schools require you to take some what they call prerequisite classes. So most of them require you to take 2 years of chemistry, 2 years of biology. So they have sort of a listing of courses that they require. So at the very least, I would say maybe 3 years and then 4 years of optometry, but all of them are 4 years of optometry.
Okay, and you can change the university between bachelor and next education?
Yes, for sure.
Yes,
Because
okay.
not all of them have optometry schools.
What is your favorite at the bachelor degree? I mean that the math, chemistry, biology, what do you like most?
Yeah, so originally I still do like math, so I really like optics. I feel like that was something that I felt like I really enjoyed learning about. And I know this is weird, but I liked some organic chemistry too.
It's not weird, just a different way of path.
Yeah, it was cool, like just thinking about the different formulas, and so I guess that's sort of a math thing too, like formulas of equations and balancing equations and things like that. I wasn't a really big fan of anatomy or.
I see. I always jealous on people who are good on chemistry because I'm not. I'm the part who is good in math and the physics. I really like it. And you, Kasia, what kind of science you like most?
I think the math.
The math. Okay. So we 3 of us together, we can fly also on Mars, maybe next year.
Yeah.
We can make some astronaut mission. If we calculate it properly, of course.
Right.
Okay, coming back to the optometry, do you choose a profession during a specialization, during your studies? Or it looks different? You learn everything like low vision, then therapy, and you choose your field of interest later.
So every school is the same. So all the optometry students learn everything basically.
Okay.
Then some schools, I would say most schools, during your 4th year, so they have a standard curriculum that they follow where you learn everything. Then your 4th year, you often have a sort of choice for elective classes. So maybe you want to learn advanced, fittings of contact lens. So you want to learn how to fit scleral lenses, or you want to take some extra time and learn more about vision therapy. So sometimes there's some options during your 4th year, your last year of optometry school, where you could take some specialized classes to kind of get a better feel for something that you're interested in. But you don't really specialize until after you graduate. So you can do a residency your 5th year, and that can kind of help you choose a specialization. So if you want to do a residency program in contact lens, so you spend that whole year kind of in a program that's designed to help you specialize in contact lens. And there's ocular disease, there's vision therapy, low vision. There's all sorts of different options there. But even if you don't do a residency, you can still go into a private practice, or whenever you start to work, then you can kind of decide if you want to specialize or if you want to just practice the full scope of optometry.
Okay. At the moment, you specialize in eye surface and dry eye surface. And when did you choose this path?
So I guess I decided, so after optometry school, I decided to pursue a PhD, and I selected a mentor who specialized in ocular surface disease. And so my advisor, my PhD advisor, was, dry eye, contact lens, ocular surface. And that's sort of when I decided to do my PhD work on dry eye disease.
Okay. Could you just describe me a little bit your specialization? Do you have more clinical work or more calculated math or something? Would you have just calculate how it goes, how it looks?
How my week looks, or what I do?
Yes, I mean that your specialization with dry eye at your PhD. Is it more clinical or more just theoretical?
Yeah, so
what kind of research you're doing, I think. That's right? Research?
Yes,
what kind of research you're doing?
Yeah. So I do both research and clinic. So I run, I'm at the Indiana University School of Optometry. So I run the dry eye clinic here. So I spend a lot of time seeing patients, teaching students about dry eye, and that's all I do in the clinic. And then I also do research that's more, I guess, science-based, but I like to do what's called translational science. So I make sure that the research I'm doing is has a clinical focus. So I don't get so kind of lost in the weeds or like in the science aspect. I make sure that it has a clinical application at some point. So I make sure what I'm doing is relevant for optometry and can hopefully, help patients out in some way. So I'm not a pure scientist, but I'm also not just clinic, right? I'm kind of a combination of that, doing both.
Okay. Could you tell us your secret? What are you working at the moment?
My secret. So I am focusing my research on mucins on the ocular surface. So there's been a lot of work looking at lipids, evaporative dry eye, and the meibomian glands, and we've sort of lost focus about the mucins and how important they are. And it's partly because they're a little difficult to study in the lab, just because the techniques are kind of complicated. So anyway, so I do a lot of research on looking at mucins on the eye, because the mucins help to create that hydrophilic water surface to kind of hold the tears on your eyes. So that's what I'm looking at, and how those mucins become altered and changed in dry eye disease.
Okay, I really love your talk because I have dry eye and I can't help myself. So I really love people who are working on it. And I hope that it will change very soon. Kasia, we are talking about Ania, Ania's life, her experience. Could you tell me your path, your experience? What is your favorite path in optometry?
Mine?
Yours.
The best is vision therapy, and Anna knows that. And that was the first thing that I wanted to learn when I was with Anna. And basically, my PhD is not about vision therapy. So one path is physics, and Anna knows it. She was looking at my new publication. And the other one at my university is right now oncology. And this is really nice research I'm doing with my colleagues at the university. And we are doing all the exams at the women who are in oncology treatment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the vision therapy is I love it. And Anna, when I was in the United States, Anna gave me all her books, because I remember she was like, I don't like it. You didn't do them all. I just passed the exam, and all her friends was giving me the book from vision therapy, and you can take it to Poland. Nobody likes it in here. So I was like, okay.
It's true.
That's true.
Okay. Kasia, I feel that I have to visit you and see your bibliothèque because I also love vision therapy. Now I have quite break from my work because I'm staying at home with my 9-month son. And when I'm thinking what I really miss from my job, I miss vision therapy, contact with my patients. I'm still in touch with them, writing some message. So I hope to come back soon just for vision therapy. The rest is just for money. Yes, but we also have to live. So we have a lot of more questions for you about living in the United States, about the optometry in the USA. So I should continue now. Could you tell us something more about your training, about your practice after studies? Where did you get there? Did you have to pay for them? And how much time does it take normally?
For the school, the optometry school?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so there is tuition, and tuition can be pretty expensive for optometry school. It can range anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 per year. So a lot of students will get loans from the government to help pay for the tuition and the costs associated with school. There are lots of different scholarships as well that are offered at the different schools that kind of helps to pay for some of the tuition. So it can be pretty expensive, but the thing is that most students, once they graduate, they can pay off their loans probably fairly quickly, I would say, kind of depending on their lifestyle and, how much their loans kind of accumulated with, other expenses like cost of living. But all optometry students, there's plenty of jobs, right? So you pay a lot of money, you have a lot of tuition, high cost, but they're going to be able to find a job and pay off those loans fairly easily. So it's expensive, but then it pays off in the end you'll have a good job, essentially.
I have a few more questions about your students' practice, students' training. When you are making it, do you just look how other optometrists working, or you have your own patients you are working with?
Yeah, so the students, it kind of varies a little bit between the schools, but either their second year, they'll start spending some time observing in the clinic during just their second year of optometry school. Their third year, they will start to spend more dedicated time in clinic, meaning they see patients. So they go to the waiting room, they bring the patient back, and they'll go through the exam. And each student is assigned to an optometrist faculty member. Usually it's about 3 students for one faculty member. So they'll check in with the faculty and say, this is what I'm finding, and then at the very end, the faculty will come in and kind of check a few things and finish up the exam. But the students are responsible for doing the entire exam. Third year, they still have a lot of classes, so they're not in clinic as frequently. But fourth year is pretty much entirely in clinic seeing patients. They usually spend time in each school in the clinic has subclinics. So they'll spend one day where they're seeing contact lens patients. They'll have another day where they're focusing on ocular disease. They'll have another day where they're seeing low vision or vision therapy. They'll have another day where they're seeing what we call primary care, where you just kind of do your full exam, start to finish, full scope. So the students see quite a number of patients, and they see the patient themselves.
Okay, that sounds really good. I think that's the most important part which we miss, which we don't have in Poland. There are a lot of practice with patients. I remember I graduated studies many years ago. Okay, I'm not so young, unfortunately. But the thing is that on my studies, we just check each other on the group and have some volunteers from the citizens from Poznań. But I graduate my education without making eye examination on any plus refractive. I only correct minus when I get this first time when I get to my work. So it was surprising for me how it works. I think that I test like maybe 50 person during my studies. and more 90 making my master diploma. So it's still not enough to feel comfortable with this field, with checking patients, and I'm very happy that in your countries it looks much different.
Yeah, and I didn't mention, but on their fourth year, they also go on what we call rotations. So it's a little different, but usually it's the year is divided into summer, fall, and spring. So you have 3 semesters. So the students will spend some time at the school clinic, and then they are required to go on at least 2 rotations to another clinic. So either they'll spend a couple weeks in a private practice where they are seeing patients, or they'll spend time like in a hospital or surgery center. So they get experience not just at the school, which the school's patients can be sometimes different than what you get out in a private practice, or if you're in like a big city or something. So they get to experience different settings of optometry as well, and see patients.
I see. Kasia, you work on different university than me. How are you feeling this practice with patients? Is it enough in Poland at the moment, or we should make more practice for students?
I think we should make a lot more practice for students, but at the medical university, I think a lot of has changed, and there are a lot of new, no lectures, but a lot of new patients, and I think students see a lot of patient in there. So it's more than we had the lectures, but
Okay.
it's not enough, because I saw when I was with Anna 1 month and a half in Memphis, and then I was with Anna in Colorado when she was on this rotation trip, we can say. For her it wasn't a trip, but I was with her at the exam room and everything. So basically Anna was making all the exams, and the only thing that I could help it was optics. Do you remember? I was measuring the lenses. So for example, I can say our students are better in optics. And I can say that like we are better in measuring progressive lenses and all that stuff, because I was helping them with that. Yeah. And also on the trip, do you remember? Nobody could measure power of the lens, so I couldn't, and everybody was like, wow, you can do it. But basically they are better prepared than we are, and that's really, I saw the different optometry in there, and I was not maybe shocked, maybe just a little bit, but when I came to Poland, I decided I have to study more, that my knowledge is not enough to take care of the patients. And Anna really helped me a lot. She was taking, because the best thing, when the first week I was with Anna, I was really tired of the lectures and everybody was inviting me for meetings and stuff like that. And Anna woke up on the weekend and she told me that I have to pack my bag and we are going at the university. I was like, what? And she said, yeah, we have to practice. So students at the weekend are going to university and they are studying. So that was, for me, was like shock. Like, for example, in Poland, students are not going at the weekend at the university to studies, and there are a lot of students in there. And there was you have the supervisor is the last year student. That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And it was really nice.
So at the university, the labs are open for students all the time, and you can practice your specialization.
Yep, it's encouraged. And usually there's like an older student, like a 4th year student that's there to kind of help. So like they actually pay a 4th year student to come in there to help the younger students.
Okay.
If they want to do like a retinoscopy practice, the students will come in there, and there'll be somebody there that kind of helps them if they have trouble.
Yeah, that is very helpful and really nice. I think that the open space, the open labs, is very helpful for students. Just the opportunity to touch the stuff and examine each other in a free time is very good idea. I think that we have a few points which we should copy from your university to our university to propose to make the optometry better here. I have a few more questions to you, Anna. How are you feeling? Are you ready for next?
Yeah,
Do you want more? Could you tell me, are you obligated to continue your education when you graduate? For example, do you have to collect some points every year, or it's just up to you? Do you continue education or not?
Yes, every state, this is where it's a little bit complicated. Every state has different requirements, but you do have to take so many hours of what they call continuing education, so that when the time comes to renew your license to practice, you have to show that you've had so many hours. So usually it's like about 20 hours per year that you have to take through either like conferences, or like meetings. There's, each state has its own like optometry group meetings where they offer continuing education. Some states require you to take you have to have so many hours in a specific area. So like in, I think, Texas, you have to have so many hours in glaucoma, continuing education hours and things like that. So it's about 20 hours or so per year that you have to
Okay.
take. Mhm.
Okay, it's really nice. Thank you. Anna, you hold PhD. Are you therefore obligated to work and teach other students, or you work at university just for you? It looks different, not for students.
Yeah, so I can basically do anything that I feel like is that I want to do. The PhD for me helps me if I want to continue doing research. And really, I got a PhD for me to better understand dry eye, more about the science and the mechanisms behind, so that I feel more comfortable kind of specializing in it. You don't have to get a PhD. Most students just get an optometry degree, or maybe they get a master's. Most of them do not get a PhD because you don't need to have a PhD. You can teach at a university optometry school with just an optometry degree. You also do not have to have a PhD. So it sort of was more for me. And now I have sort of an opportunity where I can continue doing research. I may be more likely to get some research funding if I have a PhD, but many optometrists are out there doing research and they do not have a PhD. So so I guess it was more for me, and it opens a few more doors, but it's definitely not a requirement to get a PhD, or you don't. And I'm not necessarily, I don't have to have it to teach or anything at an optometry school.
We talked about this last time on the backstage before going live, because in the United States you don't need a master degree before making PhD. Yes, it's the difference in Poland, because in Poland we have to make the bachelor, then master, then PhD, and then you have more than 8 years of the education just to complete it. Yes, and Kasia, can you see any more differences between PhD in the United States and in Poland?
Yeah, there are lots of them. The most important thing that they have a money for research, I think. So, for example, when I was with Anna, when I want something for, I don't know, Dr. Maples want to take something to vision therapy. He was going to secretary and she was preparing everything for us. The money wasn't the problem. So Anna can say that there's no problem with money. In Poland is different. So the university don't have a lot of money. So for research, for example. So that's why the PhDs are lasting a long, long time, sometimes 10 years, sometimes 8 years. A lot of my friends know that. And when you finish the PhD, you are so exhausted that you think you run a lot of marathons and everything. But finally you're going to finish it. I didn't finish it yet. So this is the longest trip that I'm taking. But yeah, it's a lot of different sides of that. And I remember, I don't remember the name of this professor, Pinakin. Yeah, that's right, Anna? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was in there with Anna, he was telling me to stay in the United States. Don't come back to Poland because I'm here. You're gonna finish it. And yeah, you have a lot of opportunities in here. And I think he was right. And that was a different time in my life. So I didn't stay in there. But that's true. It's much easier. I think if you are hardworking, and Anna can say something about that, you will finish the PhD, and you don't have to take care of the money, or you are doing the research, and you write the publication. I don't say it's Anna had a lot of problem too, and she can say it.
No, she doesn't have.
No, I do. I don't want to talk about that.
No, she doesn't have.
It's different. It's much different. You can see at the university. I remember Anna can say because the students at the beginning of the school of the optometry, then they have to have all the stuff. They have to have the retinoscopy. What else, Anna? You have, and this is yours. You have to buy it, and you have to use it in clinic to take the exam of. Can you say what kind of things you have to start?
Yeah, so it's not all at once, but before a clinic, you have to buy like the retinoscope and all the attachments, the transilluminator and all that, like the near cards, your stereoscope books, color vision book, the BIO, you get the indirect, all the lenses to see the back of the eye. I think you actually also have to, used to buy a rigid glass or RGP fitting set. I don't know if that's true anymore. Foreign body kits you have to purchase to remove foreign bodies. There's just all the things. I still have all of mine. I don't. If I had gone into practice, I'd probably be using all of it. But yeah, so they have to purchase all of that. But that comes from like their loans or whatnot.
Yeah, it's very nice and good idea also, because to collect your own stuff, because you can move with this, you can make examination anywhere you are, not only at the university. It's also a good idea, I think. Okay, we are in the middle of our meeting, I suppose. If anyone has a question to Anna, I think it's a good moment to start asking. Now we want to change questions, ask about the living in the USA, and some questions for someone who maybe want to move to USA and is considering this idea. So now a few questions on behalf of those who may be considering working or studying in the USA. Anna, have you ever met any foreigners at your university? Is it popular to choose the USA to complete higher education?
I would say I've seen more people for a PhD than an OD, but that's because there are certain optometry schools that have an easier sort of program that is designed to accept students from other countries. So like the Illinois College of Optometry in Chicago, I think they actually just accepted somebody from Poland. I'm not sure who it is, but I was looking at their kind of profile of their entering class. So there is somebody from Poland that will be studying at that school. So they sort of have a better kind of system where they can look at your undergraduate coursework and kind of see the equivalencies to the courses that they require in the United States, and they can accept you then into an optometry program a bit easier. So the school that I was at in Memphis, they get a lot of students. We get a lot of students from Canada, but not so many other international students. So the school in Illinois, I would say, has international for optometry. I think also the school in Boston and also over in California, several of those schools. They just have a better system, like I said, in place to kind of review applications from foreign countries and accept students. They do require you. I think you have to take the TOEFL, the English as your second language. You have to pass an exam saying that you can, how to speak English. And I think
it's the certificate to TOEFL.
Yeah. So you have to do that. You also have to show proof of financial support, so that you're able to pay for your tuition, and then they help you go through the process of getting a visa. basically.
Okay, just to be sure, I need to go to the beginning of your answer. You
Sure.
said that it's easier to go to PhD than on master. Yes?
There are more international students that I've
Okay.
seen the PhD, yes, than optometry. Just this my experience.
And it's to be clear, I didn't ask it before. You said that master degree and bachelor, you have to pay for study. But for a PhD, you also have to pay for a study, or is like your job, the university pay to you?
For a PhD, if you're accepted, you do, most of the time you have a stipend. So you do not pay tuition. The school will pay you a very small amount. And then you have usually you have some teaching assistant requirements that you have to help with classes.
Okay.
And if you're in a PhD program in vision science, then you'll be helping with optometry classes.
I see. Okay. And what are the average cost of studying in the United States? Speaking about the money,
Yeah.
is it the same for the U.S. citizens and foreigners, or it's different? Or maybe it's not the comfortable question.
So I guess so for undergraduate, you mean for bachelor's or for just in general? So the optometry programs, the tuition ranges from 25,000 to 50,000 a year. The schools will have two different sets of tuition prices. So they'll have in-state and out-of-state. Out-of-state meaning that you're coming from, you don't live in the state where the university is, so that would include international students. You will pay out-of-state tuition. So sometimes I think, so anyway, so out-of-state tuition. And out-of-state tuition is usually more expensive than in-state tuition. So,
I see.
So it's a little bit pricier. And then as far as cost of living, that just kind of depends on the city that you're in. Like I would say Memphis is a very affordable city to live in. A place like Chicago, if you're going to live, downtown, or New York, that's going to be a little bit more expensive to live there.
Yeah, and the cost of the living also depends on the standard you are you really want to live in. So I think the cost of living is very smooth and different for every person. Yes, but thank you for the questions. I think it's make it clear for people who want to start living in another country. I have to answer the question in Polish because it was asked in Polish. Okay, so give me a second.
Sure.
Panie Darku, na początku mówiłam, że postaramy się poprowadzić tą optogadkę w języku angielskim, dlatego że chcemy podtrzymać naturalność tej rozmowy, tak aby nasza rozmówczyni czuła się w pełni komfortowo. Jeżeli jest Pan zaciekawiony tą rozmową, a pewnie tak, skoro się u nas pojawił, postaramy się postawić albo w formie napisów, albo w formie jakiegoś symultanicznego tłumaczenia całe nagranie, bądź konkretne części, jeżeli Pan zadałby w komentarzu jakieś konkretne pytania, postaram się przetłumaczyć jak najszybciej, nawet dzisiaj. Proszę z nami pozostać, może jakieś pytania się nasuną i część wypowiedzi jednak pozostanie zrozumiała. Okay, so I think we can continue in English. I wanted to ask you, what happened when you graduate in the United States? When you completed your studies in the USA, can you change the country with your diploma? Like you moved to Australia, to Canada without any new diploma? Or you have to complete education for that countries?
For optometry?
Oh, Anna is freezed. Anna, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, did you hear a question, Anna?
Yes.
Yes, okay, but we didn't hear your answer, so we are waiting for
for the optometry degree, right? I think that most countries, there's some additional exam that you would have to take or some extra classes. I think that getting an optometry degree in the United States is more easily transferable to other countries, as opposed to just a student coming with an optometry degree from, let's say, India, and they're coming to the United States. There's probably a little bit more rigorous coursework and things that they have to go through in order to practice in the United States. But I think going the other way, it may be probably a little bit easier. So like if I wanted to go practice in Australia, I think there's just some coursework I have to take and maybe an exam just to show that I know. Same thing with going to Canada. I think it's just an exam I would have to take.
Did you even consider to change your country, to move abroad?
Yeah, all of my family is here, so I think it just makes sense for me to be here. Probably at one point, maybe I thought it might be fun to practice elsewhere, but once I got into the PhD and then just sort of making my own networking and connections here, it just sort of made sense to stay.
Okay. I think that your country is very, very beautiful, and a lot. It's very big. It's very huge. So you have a lot of opportunities to. When you don't like winter, you can move to Florida. When you like winter, you can stay in Indiana. So you have a lot of possibilities to place to live.
Yeah, I'm hoping to visit Poland again soon once the pandemic kind of calms down. Because actually, right before, my husband actually proposed to me in Poland. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh.
we went on a trip to Poland to go to a wedding in Warsaw, and then we took a trip to kind of visit. We went to oh my gosh, the town is leaving me. Śnieżka.
Skarpacz.
Yeah,
Karpaczu jest Śnieżka.
That's where he proposed to me, and then we went and visited family. But so I like visiting and traveling to Poland. I still haven't made it to Gdańsk or up there on the coast, but I like Poznan quite a bit. So hopefully my next trip will include maybe Gdańsk and Poznan.
In which part of Poland you are connected with your family?
So the western part, so closer to Germany. My dad's family is from Katowice and so like na Śląsku.
Na Śląsku, yes.
That's where they're from. But yeah, my mother's side is over by Germany. So
Okay, thank you. Next questions about the United States and universities in the United States. Could you tell me if the curriculum of the universities is the same at every university, or it depends where you study? For example, in Indiana or in Florida, my favorite, New York, is different, and then you have to collect your education, or you can move across the country because the education is everywhere the same.
Yeah, so the curriculums at the optometry schools is pretty much standardized. So it's pretty much the same at every school. So there's some requirements. And then every student that before they graduate, they have to take a national board exam. So it consists of 3 parts, where the first part is very science-based. The second part is they have to take an exam that's all cases. So they get simulated patient cases, and they have to answer questions about how they would treat the patient. And then the third part of that exam is they have to actually fly to North Carolina, and they have to actually show that they can do all the procedures on a real patient. So they go in this exam room, and there's a video camera, and they're being monitored, and they have to go through and do this exam. So if they pass all 3 parts, then they graduate with their degree in optometry. And then if they want to practice, they can practice then in any state in the United States. Each state has its own state exam. So you can go and practice, let's say in Florida if you like, but there's a state exam or state testing that you have to go through. Usually it's a simple law exam. So the United States is also a little bit complicated in that the way that optometrists can practice, it's different for every state a little bit. So that kind of varies. Anyway, so you have to go to the state that you want. You can take your degree. You can practice in any state that you want. You just may have to take another exam.
I see. Ania, you have invitation to Gdańsk from Alexandra.
Oh, awesome.
So just, I don't know, you have to say when and how, and I think that the hot tea will wait for you.
Thank you. It's always nice to have somebody that knows the city that can show you around. So it would be lovely.
Yeah, I really like Gdańsk, and when you visit it, and if you like sea, you like water, please try kite surfing or windsurfing there, because it's a very good idea to try it. If you didn't try before, it's the best place in the world to practice and to learn, because the water is very low, the level of the water, and it's very safe. I've tried it and I really love, but I didn't continue, so we can go together.
Okay. Yeah, let's make an optometry trip.
Yeah, it's very good idea. I have a few final questions for you. Do you recommend any optometric university which is the best in your opinion? It's yours.
I don't know who's watching. My school is very good. They're pretty, they're really pretty much very similar. It just kind of depends on if you know already, if you have a certain interest in like if you like vision therapy. So maybe you would pick a university that kind of has some faculty that are more known for vision therapy, or or contact lenses or something like that. But really, any school is going to offer a really great education. You may also get different opportunities for research if you're interested in research, depending on the school that you go to. So there are private optometry schools, and then there's public optometry schools. So the private ones are kind of their own little entities. The public universities, it's just a large university. So you have optometry, but you have everything else. So there's usually a lot more research opportunities at the public ones. So that just kind of depends. But if you're sort of just want to do optometry, then just, you can pick a state that you want to be in for 4 years.
I see. Kasia, could you tell us which university did you choose to make your practice in the United States? Kasia, can you hear us? Kasia is freeze.
No. Yeah, can you ask the question once again?
Yeah,
because I had a problem. Yeah.
You said at the beginning that you was in the United States on your students practice, or some exchange students. Which university did you visit?
It was Southern College of Optometry. The Anna was studying in there, so that was the college that I was in the United States. For me, this Southern College of Optometry, this school was really nice, and all the equipment and organization, the lectures, the clinic was great. I remember the Halloween day, and there's a lot. It was really nice for kids because everybody, the lectures, the students, they'd have costumes, and I didn't have it, so they brought me one. And I was laughing at that. Yeah, but it was very nice. The kids were coming, and the exams was like, I don't know, vampire or werewolf, or somebody was taking exam of the kids, and they were laughing. It was really nice because everything, I really, really enjoyed the school, and I was very excited when I was in there. Anna took me because Anna's parents helped me to come to United States once again, and I was landing in Colorado. Then we went to Las Vegas, and then from Las Vegas we went to Florida, and it was 2 days trip without sleeping. Anna, 2 days, 1.5.
Yeah.
I'm very glad that you still remember that moment.
So we took one night in Las Vegas, and then from Las Vegas we go to Colorado, and from Colorado we went to Anna's brother to Florida. And and then Anna took me to school once again. So I was with Anna, and I was with Anna at the exam room, because the first time when I came, Anna was on the first year, and she didn't take any exams or anything. She only have a practice in the labs. We call it labs, like small boxes, and there were a lot of slit lamp and everything. But then Anna it was your 4th year or 3rd year? That was your last year. I don't remember. Yeah, 4th. And then Anna, Anna was at the exam room, so she had a patience. So it was much easier with Anna, because Anna was, she was telling me everything, what she was doing, and all of the stuff, and showing me, and I learned a lot.
Kasia, your students exchange to the United States is great experience, and I hope that we'll make more OptoGadka meeting and you will tell us everything, how it's happened, how it goes, more details, but we are not in time today, but it's very nice to listen it. I have last question for Anna. Anna, could you tell me how is it with finding job after graduate? Does the university helps you at the beginning, or it's just on your hand, on your way to find the job?
So each school has a career sort of, they have people dedicated that can kind of help you find a job, essentially. So there are state associations. So each state has its own optometry sort of group, and they kind of know what jobs are available in the state. So the school will help you as a student during your 4th year. If you know you want to go practice and live in Colorado, they'll connect you with the people that that have jobs posted and things like that. So they have career centers. Many of the schools have career centers that will help you find a job. So it's not like, oh, you graduate and then you have to fend for yourself and figure it out. There's lots of help from the school from the schools that are available to help you find a job.
That's wonderful. It's the next thing which I really wish to be also in Poland, because it's very helpful when some organs monitor the situation in the country and can give you some advice where to find a job. I suppose that also the payment is not something very przypadkowe, mam na myśli. The salary is good also for you after some invitation to that place.
Most students start, when they graduate, they start off usually making around close to $80,000, I would say.
Sounds good. I ask you all questions which I prepared for today, the questions about the living in the United States, about the studying in the United States. I didn't ask you a lot about your work, about your practice as the PhD, but because it is very huge area of questions. And if you like our meeting, I invite you today for next meeting when I will ask you about your PhD, about your research, about your working, and everything else what you need. Anya, are you with us?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm here.
We changed the place.
I would love to come back and talk if people are interested in hearing more. Hopefully I explained everything, and obviously if there's any questions, I'm happy to help, or if any student or anybody out there needs help understanding, different programs, they can always reach out to you and you can pass them along to me. I'm very happy to help anybody who's thinking about either coming here or they just have questions about optometry and they want to talk to people who, specialize in certain things, maybe not dry eye. I can still find people that they can talk to if they want. Sure, happy to help and happy to come back and talk.
Myślę, że wszyscy będziemy chcieli z tego skorzystać, więc Aniu, ostrożnie z propozycjami. I am extremely happy that we met today. It was our first international meeting. We talk in English, we connect with United States. It's around 10,000 kilometers, 10,000 hundreds kilometers between us, 7 hours difference. And it's wonderful that we can share our knowledge about the optometry. I hope that the people in Poland who are listening it can influence, can add some information to our practice. I think the thing which I really which I get from our conversation is the basic stuff which I should have to practice optometry, which I should have to move and do exams every place, everywhere where I go. Okay. Are you tired, Anya?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine. And you, Kasia, how are you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
It was relaxed for me. Really nice.
Yeah.
I miss her a lot, so.
Tak, miałyście wspaniałą przygodę ze sobą i naprawdę godną pozazdroszczenia, ale też pokazującą, że naprawdę po drugiej stronie oceanu można znaleźć swoją bratnią duszę i świetnie po prostu wspierać też rozwój optometrii, czy to tu, czy to tam. Na pewno taka wymiana doświadczeń wpływa pozytywnie na nasze wrażenia. Bardzo dziękuję Państwu za uwagę. Cieszę się, że tak licznym gronem wytrzymaliśmy do samego końca. Jeżeli pojawiły się jakieś nieścisłości, jakieś pytania w związku z naszą rozmową w języku angielskim, śmiało zadawajcie pytania, postaram się w komentarzach odpowiedzieć, no albo też wykombinować, w jaki sposób dodać napisy. Ale może szkoda czasu, bo po prostu czas przygotowywać kolejną OptoGadkę. Zostańcie z nami w najbliższym czasie. Za 2 tygodnie kolejne spotkanie, a może nawet troszeczkę szybciej się uda, tym bardziej w tematyce samych pacjentów. Dziękuję bardzo i dobranoc.